I love cruising, and overall I do think it is a pretty good value vacation. However, there's no denying it. Cruise lines are pretty skilled and even pretty sneaky at getting us to spend more money on our cruise both before and once we're on board our cruise ship. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, has it ever happened to you? You get an ad or perhaps you get an email from a cruise line for what looks like an incredible deal on a cruise. Maybe it's $3.99 or $5.99. Now, you know it's not going to end up at that cost, but somehow by the time you book your cruise, you get on the cruise, well, you are looking at a much more expensive vacation. Now, cruise lines have always been good at getting cruise passengers to spend more money. However, now they are really trying to raise funds even more for good reason. And I noticed that there are some new tactics that they are using that are getting us to spend more money on our cruise, well, that we should all be aware of. Now, before I get started, there are two things. Firstly, spend your money however you like. There is no judgment here. And secondly, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, if you've been cruising for a few years, you know that this wasn't always the case. It is non-refundable deposits. Now, personally, I like flexibility, so I almost never book the non-refundable deposits unless I'm pretty close to the final payment. However, when I spoke to a travel agent recently, they told me that from their clients, almost all of them are booking the non-refundable deposits with Royal Caribbean and with Celebrity because sometimes it can be several $100s cheaper, and it is, of course, the first rate that you will see. Now, I am curious, does that make a difference to you? Do you book non-refundable or refundable deposits? Number two, the variety of tricky, confusing sales. Yes, I am talking about BOGO sales, or buy one, get the second passenger half off, get the third and fourth passenger 30% off. It is really hard to keep it all straight. Get everybody 30% off, get a certain percentage off, but then you also have an onboard credit. There are a lot of sales. They get a little bit confusing, but what they do is they do create a sense of urgency because, of course, that sale does end. Maybe it ends in 1 week, maybe it ends in 4 days. And if you've been pricing cruises for a while, you know that once one sale ends, well, usually there is another sale to replace it. That being said, it doesn't mean that the prices are always reflected in the sale. Many people who are tracking the prices on their cruises say that when there's a BOGO sale and there's a 30% off sale the following week, that the prices end up being, in the end, about the same. Number three, pushing final payment dates further out from the sale date. Many cruise lines have their final payment dates anywhere from 90 days to even 120 days. And the reason that they are doing that, well, mostly is because then by the time you get closer to your cruise and you're booking any of your packages, you're booking any of your shore excursions, well, even if you are booking them online, that initial payment, well, it feels less fresh. And a term that the cruise industry uses is that passengers are having a fresh wallet. And this happens actually several times. So it happens when you make your deposit, then it happens again when you make your final payment. It happens again when you book onboard reservations or different packages. And of course, it happens again once you are on board the cruise ship. Number four, making the main dining room food, well, just okay. And the experience, just okay. This is definitely something that I've seen in recent years. It is still good on many cruise lines, but it definitely isn't what it once was. And that does really entice passengers to go over to those specialty dining restaurants and those alternative venues to have, well, better and different food and dining experiences. Number five, giving you onboard credits as perks. Now, I love onboard credits. I think that they are great, but a lot of times what happens is when we do have an onboard credit, we are going to spend it, of course. We're going to spend it maybe on a shore excursion or maybe to upgrade our drink package. But then, of course, we are in that spending mode. And because we already had the onboard credit, chances are we are going to spend a little bit more money. Now, in some cases, those onboard onboard credits are actually part of the perk. So for instance, Norwegian Cruise Line gives passengers a $50 shore excursion credit. Now, of course, what happens if your shore excursion is going to be more than $50? You are still going to book that probably with the cruise line. I know that I did. Marketing. Now, this is not a new one, but definitely these days, passengers are noticing the pretty amazing marketing that cruise lines do. So if you get onto any cruise line's email list, you will see that you're kind of bombarded by the different emails. But obviously, this really works. Emails, text messages, and of course, the advertisements that you might even see on YouTube. Getting passengers to pay more to pick their own cabin. Now, cruise lines know that we, of course, want to know where is our cabin located. Now, personally, I don't really mind a guarantee cabin, but most of the time, unless availability was really an issue, well, the price difference wouldn't be vastly different between a guarantee cabin or being able to choose your own cabin. Well, recently I was taking a look for pricing on a cruise on one of my favorite cruise lines, and even though I did take a look at different dates, this was a pricing structure that I saw used pretty much regularly, and the difference between choosing your own cabin and a guarantee cabin was actually much larger than before. Definitely a way that many cruise passengers will spend more money. All-inclusive packages and bundles. Now, this one is twofold. So we do have the packages and bundles, and what I'm talking about here is beverage packages, Wi-Fi included, dining packages, maybe shore excursion credits. And in fairness, cruise passengers have been asking cruise lines to do this for years. Many people want a more inclusive way of cruising. So this definitely has been a good thing, and it's really added value for cruise passengers as a whole. There is a debate if this really does save money or not, but in any case, people do make their own choices on that, and I think that these are really popular options, at least on some cruise lines. Now, while we've had these optional packages for years, something that is new is having those packages in combination with having maybe a little bit of a less appealing standard or base fare cruise pricing. Now, what I'm talking about in particular is Princess Cruises. Yes, they have Princess Standard, they have Princess Plus, and they have Princess Premier. And based on a recent video that I did about some of the changes and about what the packages do include, I have to say the majority of the comments were from people who said, yes, they will be paying extra to get those packages, because right now that really does seem like the best value for what's included. Big resort style cruise ships with extra fee attractions. Now, these cruise ships just look amazing, of course, if you're somebody who wants these kind of activities. So I'm talking about Carnival and the roller coaster, or Norwegian Cruise Line and the racetracks, or MSC and that virtual reality, I think it's called a Robotron. And of course, other cruise lines have as well some extras that are on board that really look so enticing that by the time that you do get on board the cruise ship, in particular if you have kids or teens, you're definitely going to be enticed to spend more money once you're on your vacation. Okay, this one might be a little bit controversial. Casino rates. Now, hear me out on this. I know a lot of people are cruising on casino rates, and they claim they're getting free cruises or they're really getting pretty inexpensive cruises, and they're getting a lot of perks too. However, when we've spoken to many people that are cruising on casino rates over the last year or so, many people tell us they're spending thousands of dollars at the casino every single cruise. They're also spending a lot of time in the casino. So obviously, if this is something that you enjoy, no judgment, but please do let me know your experience on casino rates. Are they really as great a deal as they seem? Or are you perhaps, well, funding the cruise line with what you're spending at the casino? And yes, you are getting a free cruise, but does the value really equal out? Please let me know down in the comments below. Now, this next one is pretty common and probably won't surprise you, but right after that, I have one that I don't think people really talk about. So upsells at the spa. And I know a lot of people just don't really like this, but people do really love booking an appointment at the spa. And what a lot of people say is there are just upsells at the spa. A lot of people don't like it. One thing that I would say for that is let them know right away, by the way, I'm not interested in any additional products, so please don't sell me on anything. Apparently, that does seem to work. But that being said, it must be a money generator for the cruise line, because otherwise they wouldn't do it. Sales on the cruise ship. So I am talking about sales in the stores, and in particular, those pop-up sales that happen either in the atrium or outside of the cruise ship shops. and those are for a limited time. So those sales, well, you know the way it is, they really do work. When something is on sale for just a few hours, so maybe it's 2 for $20 t-shirts, or maybe there is an Effie sale for 60% off one of the days of the cruise, it definitely does bring people in, and people are more likely to spend their money on a cruise ship. YOLO, you only live once. Yes, once we're on a vacation, it does seem like even if we had a budget, for many of us, that budget just goes out the window because we say we're on a vacation, we're here to have fun, we're here to have an experience, and many times we might book excursions, we might go to the specialty restaurants, upgrade the drink package, buy the designer purse. You get the idea. Now, of course, that's not the cruise line's fault. That is human nature, and I admit I get caught in this one as well. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are the ways that you think that the cruise lines are getting us to spend more money on our cruise vacations? Please let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.